Hey, welcome to Geek Speak 15. Or is it 14? I think it's 15. I do that every single time.
You need to write that shit down.
It sucks to get old. Yeah, it's 15, I think. Yeah, 15.
Oh,
yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, okay. What do you want to talk about, brother?
So, I'm not uber Marvel fan, but I try to keep up with stuff.
Yeah.
So Frank Miller, as of late, has started doing covers for all these different Marvel issues, like
Variant covers.
Variant covers, right? Yeah. And I love Frank Miller when he hit his height and everything.
Oh yeah.
But it seems like and I've looked at these covers,
Yeah.
It seems like, nothing has changed. Like there's a Wolverine Ghost Rider. It's black and white with a red splash in the back, just like Sin City.
Yeah.
And then there's
Is it standalone Wolverine facing with his claws out?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I've seen that online.
And then there's a Daredevil, and it's just like just a doodle. It's just a white page with a black line doodle of some woman, and I'm guessing it's Electra. I don't know.
I wonder if artists and writers, and Frank Miller's probably primarily known as a writer. I wonder if they get like most athletes. I mean, like an athlete, a boxer, for instance.
Right.
Usually right around 30 is about as far as you can go, and even that's pushing it.
Well, I
wonder if there's
a certain style, and I understand that. But, I think as an artist, you should grow. Even if you're borrowing from other artists, I don't think that's stealing as long as you're developing something new. You shouldn't, everybody back in the Renaissance days had like a blue stage or this stage or that stage. They had stages because they were continuously growing.
Yeah.
Don't get stuck in a spot.
Well, I seen that Frank Miller Wolverine variant cover.
Okay.
And it was bad.
Yeah, right.
It was bad.
But everybody's losing their shit over it.
But if I look at Mike Tyson and he's my age and he's not the fighter he once was, I don't fret about it because, he was one of the greatest boxers of all time, a legend. But he doesn't need to be in the ring now, and maybe Frank needs to put his pencil down.
Maybe he just needs to stick to writing.
Maybe. So I'm sure you've seen the movie Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, a couple times.
I recently rewatched it. I hadn't seen it in years. Of course, it came out in 1999. It's 24 years old now.
Wow.
But I just really love that movie. And Teresa never had seen it, so we watched it together. And, it's got Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver and the late Alec Rickman. Yep. And it's got one of the first times that Rainn Wilson, the dude that played Dwight in The Office, that was one of his first roles. He was one of the little aliens in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it still stands up today, and it's funny, and it's poking fun at obviously Star Trek and those actors going to conventions and things. And but it's just so well done. Well, Paramount has plans to make a series out of it. They have it in the works. And so I'm assuming they're going to bring back as many of the old actors as they can. And I'm sure introduce some new ones as well, but I just really like that movie. It's just a good classic, good fun family film.
It was a good movie. I liked it a lot.
So what else you got, brother?
So I know it's weird and me talking about Marvel so much.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah, I know it. It's weird.
It'd be like me talking about Doctor Who.
But I heard that Marvel's getting ready to kill off Miss Marvel.
Yes, that
Amazing Spider-Man.
Now there's multiple Miss Marvels, so just like there's multiple Spider-Men,
okay.
So it's the Muslim Miss Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the one that.
They don't make it any better, but still.
Yeah.
From what I heard, it's supposed to send Spider-Man into like a darker place, and he's supposed to become more grittier and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
which would be fun to see, but.
To me, they got the Marvels movie coming out.
Now this ain't the young Miss Marvel that stretches her arms.
Yes.
They're going to kill her off. She's like up here with her fandom right now.
Well, not really. Seriously, they pushed her to where she's up there, but she's had like 2 or 3 series that have all been canceled.
She was in a movie. She's been in video games.
She's been in series. They're really pushing it. Disney, when they took over Marvel, they kind of escorted out all the older characters. Steve Rogers isn't Captain America anymore, and Tony Stark isn't going to be Iron Man, and Clint Barton isn't going to be Hawkeye, and so but they've reintroduced female or diverse characters into these new roles.
Yeah.
And they're wanting to move forward from there. And hey, it's their franchise; they can do whatever they want. But Ms. Marvel was the least watched Disney series of all. And speaking of Disney series, Willow, the old Willow movie and that they made. Well, they did a series on that, and it hasn't been out less than a year. Disney's already pulled it. You can't see that series anyway.
Oh.
Disney took it off Disney Plus because nobody was watching it. And it's just taking up server space. So think about this. They made a series, promoted a series.
Paid money
it's
for
less than a year old, and they're like, you know what? Nobody's watching it. Nobody's watching this. Let's just go ahead and take it out. So if you want to see Willow the series, you better get a bootleg copy.
Oh Lord! But here's my thing. There's things that came out years ago that were flops.
Yeah.
But then they got. I mean, Willow when it came out, I don't think was like an Uber thing. It got a cult thing.
It was a decent fantasy film for the time. Now that you've had Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, he set the bar really, really high for fantasy films. But at the time, fantasy films were typically low budget, and so Willow was big budget, and it wasn't so bad.
Well, I look at it like this: the Star Wars Holiday Special sucked ass.
Yeah.
But every Star Wars fan would fight to have a copy of it.
Oh, I wouldn't. No, I went and rewatched that thing on YouTube. Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
all right.
But anyway, so you got anything else?
Yeah. So, we were always concerned and talking about how we're about to lose comic book stores.
Yeah, they keep getting smaller and smaller.
And so I was looking, I was concerned with how COVID affected comic book sales.
Yeah.
And before COVID, comic book sales was rising. And of course, when COVID hit, nobody could get out and everything. But it really didn't affect the sale of comic books because it did the comic book stores.
Right. The brick and mortar stores.
Right, the brick and mortar stores.
Right.
But the online sales, like graphic novels and stuff where you could order online, shot through the roof. I mean, I'm talking about like they hit record 9-point-something million copies.
Comics as a whole is doing fantastic. Marvel and DC, they're the ones that are in trouble. They're losing money. No, they are. It's all manga.
But you had the top 9.
And Magwa. You know what Magwa is? It's Korean comics. So you get Japanese comics and Korean comics.
Well, I looked up to see how many comic book publishers there was. I went, I go down a rabbit hole. And in the world, I mean, it took me a minute just to scroll through the ones that started with A. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. I was thinking, me being, in my own little bubble, I'm thinking there's maybe 9 top. No, shit. No, everybody and their brother's publishing comic books.
Yeah, a couple of them are in trouble. Valiant, which I never did read any Valiant comics. They had like Magnus the Robot Fighter and Ninjak and Rai, R-A-I. And I never really watched them. But IDW, who I've got quite a few IDW comics in my collection, in my long boxes, and they're in financial trouble. And so another big news in the comic industry was we recently had Free Comic Book Day at your local comic book stores. Yeah. For those that don't know, in the 1st of May every year for I don't know how long, several years, you have Free Comic Book Day where you can just go in there and there's a whole section of comics that the publishers make and you get them for free. Now those store owners don't get those comics free. They get them at a discounted rate, but I talked to one this past week at Heroes Realm in Lexington, and they, which I knew they did, but I didn't know exactly how much. They pay about $0.25 for each comic.
Well, that just seems like.
But they give them away. But
that's helping out the comic book company, but not the comic book store.
Well, you get exposure from Free Comic Book Day, and they said they get a lot of people come there that normally wouldn't. They'll take their kids there and let them pick out one of the free comics, and a lot of them are geared toward kids. Right. And there should always be comics that are geared toward kids. But I went in there and I picked up some, and it like you said, it helped the publisher. I picked up Titans Conan comic, and it's getting ready to release in July, and they just had a preview of it, original story. So I wanted to get it, and I mean it was so well written and so well drawn that that's going to be on my pick list. Red Sonja, which I can't remember when the last time I read a good Red Sonja comic was, but they're getting ready to relaunch that, and with a new writer, Thorn something or other. I can't think of his name. He got a good Viking name, but it was well written, so I'm going to add that to my pick list. So I mean, those free comics that they give away, you know, I'll be picking up some because of that. One of the best Judge Dredd stories I'd read in years was in free 2000 AD comic that they give away on Free Comic Book Day. So what else you got, brother?
Have you ever heard of the character Access?
No.
Okay, he is the one and only single solitary comic book character that both Marvel and DC own.
Oh, seriously?
They own him together. So he was created to do the Marvel versus DC.
Yeah.
And they've used him, DC has used him more often than Marvel, but Marvel's used him as well to kind of cross these different universes, multiverses and stuff, because that's what his power is. He can cross multiverses and universes and at a drop of a hat. And I would love to see them utilize him. They gave him a 4-issue comic book series, which, I mean, 4 issues, that's not a lot.
It was probably during the whole DC Marvel crossover thing that they did it.
They've done it in several different things, but I would love to see them use him in like just one of those, like, what do you call it, Easter eggs at the end of a movie.
Yeah.
You know, let's say you're having an Atom movie, and at the end, you know, he hooks up with Access, and he's like, here's somebody I need you to meet, and then you grab some scientific mind from DC or something, and just they work together, and it's just like, you know, even if it's something small, I would love to see them use him, even if it's in an animated thing. I
wouldn't even recognize him. I never even have heard of him. You'd be like, oh, there's Access.
If you've heard of him, put it down in the comments and say, hey, yeah.
I never heard of that.
But yeah, I think that he's an unutilized character that has so much potential.
Oh, yeah?
How cool would it be to see, like, a character from the MCU, like Captain America, end up meeting the DCU's Batman?
I think we will eventually see a cinema crossover between Marvel and DC. And the reason being is once superhero movies start to tank out, then I think that like one desperate attempt would be to have a DC character and a Marvel character together.
Right.
And I can see that happening. So we recently started selling stuff on eBay again under 20 Geeks.
Okay.
You know, we'd stopped last year because if you sold over $600, you got a W-2 form.
Right.
So we cut it off at like $598. So, but we just got through selling a Wii U system on our eBay site, and you know, all the protection on eBay really goes toward the buyer, not the seller.
Okay.
So, you know, they said because we hadn't sold a lot of stuff, which we've sold stuff in the past, but they've got the money that the buyer has sent, but they haven't sent it to us, the seller.
Right.
They're going to hold on to it until the buyer gets the product, and then they're going to give us the money. And so I mean, you know.
I mean, that kind of makes sense, though, but
I guess.
I mean, the thing is sounds like you're being penalized if you sell too much. You're penalized if you don't sell enough.
Well, there's a guy named called David from Open by Chance. He's got a YouTube channel, and that I enjoy, and I think you've watched it as well. Well, he sent like a carded figure to a guy, and the guy said that it was damaged when he got it, and so he asked for it to be sent back. And when it sends back, he didn't have the card with it. It was just a figure. The figure was dirty.
Oh,
it wasn't even like. He don't even think it was the original figure that he sent.
Oh,
it's like he kept the carded figure
and then
sent him like a loose, dirty figure that he had.
That's kind of like Uber drivers or these food drivers getting penalized when somebody says they didn't get their food when they did get their food. It's the same damn thing.
Yeah, so the seller beware.
People,
seller beware when it comes to eBay. We're going to be at Frankfurt Comic Con, July 15th.
Cool.
And we're going to be vendors. So we're going to have all kinds of hard to find, rare crap that you don't need, but you should buy anyway. And so bring your purse and your wallet, and we'll see you there. Look forward to meeting you guys. So, you got anything else?
Nope.
All right. My comic recommendation. You always hear me poo-poo on modern comics. Well, today I'm not. So I always said I was going to give a comic recommendation that was good art, good story, and good price. Well, here's a modern comic. It's put out by Image, and it's called Nightclub. It's written by Mark Millar, and if you see Mark Millar on anything, just go ahead and buy it.
Mark Millar.
Yeah, the dude can write. He's one did Old Man Logan.
Oh, okay.
For Marvel. I mean, probably one of the best Marvel stories.
Yeah,
certainly.
I just like saying his name, Mark Millar.
Oh man, and so he wrote for Image, like 6 issues in a limited series, and check out that price. You know what he demanded that they charge? $1.99. Now new comics are $5 a pop.
That's nuts. But
he wanted it to sell for $1.99, proving that you can put out a comics, still sell it, still make profit, and you don't have to charge $5. And so the whole 6 issues. So good story, good art, good price.
Right.
It's about a group of kids that get bit by a vampire, and they get all the powers that go along with that, and they decide to fight crime with it. They're going to take this curse, and so it's a real original idea. A lot of people give him grief.
Blade did the same thing, didn't he?
I mean, maybe. But he was a teenager and wore a luchador mask. So, but anyway, people always say that Mark Millar writes his stories in a screenplay type way. That way, they'll become films. And so, the only criticism he ever gets is, you write your stories like they could be a movie, so maybe one day there'll be a movie. That's no criticism.
No, you know. Well,
that's like saying I have a restaurant. You make all your food really, really good, so people want to come there and eat it.
Yeah, you're trying to make a 5-star restaurant out of this place. What's your?
But anyway, pick that up if you get a chance, and it's a fantastic read. So, anything else?
Mark Millar.
All right, man. I think we're done. See you next month.
See ya.